need the breeze. I need you just like the fish need the seas. I need you to provide all my needs, not only physically but my spirituality. One psalm a day keeps the enemy away. So me squeeze the flesh, hold a fast and I pray. Without you, Lord, I would have lost my way. So me give thanks and praise to you every day. Well, it feels like I'm stuck in sin and drowning, but you pull me out and tell me keep on going. My life will be so empty if you're not here with me. So me push on towards my destiny. Anoint me from my head down to my feet, and just guide my steps as me trod upon the street. There's so much troubles all around me, but just pull me closer to me. Say Lord, I need you more in my life. Without you, I will die. Say Lord, I need you in my life. And Lord, I need you more in my life. Without you, I will die. I need you to survive. And fill me up till I overflow. 'Cause I wanna run over. 'Cause I wanna run over. And fill me up till I overflow. 'Cause I wanna run over and over and over for you, Lord. Just fill me up, oh Lord. Well, if you provide the fire, Lord, I will carry the flame. Let it burn deep inside of me. Kill out all the sin. Let my life be a beacon so all man can see. He can do it for you, 'cause they can look at me. And if you're lost, tied down in sin, he can set you free. Loose all your chain. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, trust in King Jesus, he turn it all around. Say, Lord, I need you more in my life. Without you, I will die. Say, Lord, I need you in my life. And Lord, I need you more in my life. Without you, I will die. I need you to survive.
All right, a blessed and pleasant good afternoon to everyone locked into Hope 103.1 FM. It is another beautiful day, as I always say, in the Isle of Spice, where everything is nice in Jesus Christ. Yeah, I want to say welcome to each and everyone that is tuned in right now, wherever you're locked in from. Yes, good afternoon to you. All right, and today we are going to be continue with our program, Restore. And guys, we have a beautiful face in studio with us today, but more so, we also have, the return of our. I'll leave that there so you could understand better when you see. But we want to discuss the topic becoming a mother. All right. So let me just get everyone on screen with me, and we can officially go into our topic. All right. So we have Minister Cassandra back with us today. You understand? And it's amazing. We haven't seen her for a while, but thank God she's back with us today. Minister, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Sabi. I'm doing fine. Grenada and everybody. Ooh, Bishop is here. Okay. I'm doing really good. Thank God.
Bishop,
I
she
am
was
here.
worried for you. She was worried for you. And of
Yeah,
course, yeah, and of course today we have a beautiful face joining us. You understand? I feel honored to have this face in the studio with me today and to have this voice in my head.
Well, good afternoon to everyone.
All right. So this is
hey,
my lovely wife.
what
Um,
you saying?
Bishop, this is my lovely wife. You haven't met my wife
Yes,
before, so you
Good
have an
afternoon,
opportunity.
nice
Bishop.
to meet you. You have such an awesome radio voice. So nice
Ah,
to meet you.
thank you.
Yes.
All right. So today we are discussing the topic becoming a mother, and I believe it is a timely topic to have a discussion on, and why becoming a mother and not just talking about motherhood. All right. So Candy's on the other side. She say, "Yay, Mrs. Sabi." All right. So this topic today is a good topic to discuss because Mother's Day is around the corner, and as I just I took a moment and I was thinking, like, pondering on as to what we would discuss, and Minister Cassandra put it into proper context. But I was really thinking about, the misuse of the term mother, yeah, not by children only, but by mothers also. You understand? And when I say that, I mean there are some mothers that have a wrong concept as to what it means to be a mother. And there are some children also that have a wrong concept as to what it means to have a mother. You understand? So there can be some abuse happening in these relationship because a mother knows her responsibility, and we will talk about that today. But their children will say, "Mother is mother forever." You understand? And everything they want and need, mommy. And when mommy no longer want to show up to be parent, let me put it that way, and mommy no longer want to show up to be parent, you understand? Then mommy become the worst mommy in the world. Right? So there's a difference. I purposely use the two words interchangeably. All right? Parent will always be forever. Was it you that taught me that, Bishop?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a good student, you see? So, Mr. Cassandra, let me allow you to lay the foundation, and we'll go ahead and have a really awesome conversation for the next 2 hours or so.
Good afternoon, everybody in Grenada and beyond, regions beyond. It is a blessing. I was pushed out. It was not my intention to come back at this time, but I'm here just for a short spin until next month, but it's good to be here. Restore is a program that is designed to enlighten, to expand your mind, to establish deep truths, right? And to bring about a great awareness concerning whatever topic that we really approach upon. As a matter of fact, we also have discussed, I think, among ourselves that we would like you to give us an idea also, right? We're trying to adapt something that Sabi and they have also started, right? We would like you to also give us an idea of some of the topics you would like, clarity on. Give us an idea, because I believe that this is what makes Hope FM different from the others, right? Like we want to educate you, and we want you to tell us what you need to know, right? Being a mother is a very serious job, and more so becoming a mother is a serious job. I don't want to talk much about it because I believe in democracy, and everybody's opinion is very, very important. But becoming a mother is a very serious, life-changing task, whereby a lot of us don't understand that whether you choose to bear a child or not, when the time reaches for that child to be birthed on planet Earth, you don't have a choice whether you become a mother or not. You become responsible and you become a steward. And being a steward, you are accountable to God. You're not accountable to yourself, not even to some extent to society. You're accountable to God because He places another human being in your hand, which is a very serious task. But as Minister Sabi said, the roles changes at some point in time. The roles changes from being absolutely dependent on that mom So that mom standing back and seeing, examining, and sometimes being very proud of the product that she nurtured into becoming a replica of who she is. So I'll now place this awesome privilege in Minister Sabi's hand to chair this thing as we move forward.
But which one?
Don't try
Mother,
Which one?
becoming a mother.
Oh, I was asking you which one, which Minister Sabi?
I'm so sorry. That's a good point. The female minister
Oh,
said. Very
okay.
good point. I'm so sorry.
Well, um, Minister, as we talk about becoming a mother, and I would just want to put this there. As we are talking about becoming a mother. Um, the first thing one must reflect on, I believe, is the experience, the desire to become a mother. Some people became a mother by, well, accidental. Some people did not never planned and they never desired to become a mother. You know, some people, if they had an opportunity to not become a mother, they would gladly take it for a while or for a season, because I believe women, they desire to have children. Most of them, I think that's how God has created women. You understand? And they, at some point in their life, they would want to, you know, experience the joy of parenting. Right? Some, I ain't say all, because some don't want at all. So I would like to ask the females, because you and Minister Sabi here are the mother in the room. Bishop, if anybody should not be talking too much today, would be us, because
Not really,
because
Daddy. Not
but I
really.
want to ask them a question, both of them. So my question would be like, what it felt like, first of all, and I want to jog your memory way back to the point when you didn't have any children. Did you desire children? And then if you're going to walk us through that process up until the point where you now have a child, and Restore will be open and real, right? So it's okay that I can ask these questions. And if you could walk us through the journey, some of the things you can remember, from the day you desired your first child and then your second child. Minister, how many children you have?
3.
Children, yeah, 3 children. Minister Sabi, how many children do you have?
2.
It take long to say that. Bishop, she take long to say that, man.
Oh,
Like it
2.
look like you want a next
You
one,
Oh,
man.
no, let's not go
You're being
there. We know
cultured.
the
You're
truth
being
about
cultured.
that. We know the truth about that.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
not go there.
yeah. We know the truth about that.
Mhm.
Hmm. So I'll allow you to walk us through that time in your life, until that time when you became a mother.
All right. So, ah, well, getting married, after a while, you look around you and you see other children, you see other people's children, and that longing comes at some point, right? Because you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, and there are certain things that you desire even before you get married. There are certain things that you desire. You think about your life, in terms of what you would like of your future. Maybe in some cases, some people make a plan and they say, okay, after 5 years, I want to have my first child, and then maybe 2 years after, I want to have my second child. All right. I don't quite remember us making that plan as to, okay, after we get married, we want to have children after 5 years or 10 years. I can't remember. I don't think we made that specific plan. But I do remember that at a certain point in our marriage, there was a desire, for us to have children. Um, Unfortunately for us, it didn't come that simple, right? That this is my story. And I understand from the point of view of those women in the world who are finding it difficult to have children. When I say finding it difficult, it is not easy for them to have children, right? I thought about the fact that you're hearing your mother, your father, your family keep saying, well, when you're making a child, when I getting a grandchild, people always, and there's a pressure around you, eh? So I understand firsthand that kind of pressure where people always say, no, when I get a grandchild, when I go become an auntie, well, I want to be godmother, I want to be godfather, that kind of thing. Because in our hearts, we wanted to have a child, but I realized that it was not as simple as it is for some persons, right? Because I remember maybe it took us, I can't quite remember, but a couple months we were trying and nothing was happening. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. All right. And then there's a pressure, as I said, a pressure out there. When I get him a grandchild, when I get into, it's this kind of thing. But we had the desire. I had the desire, right, to have a child. And we started to pray. We prayed. As a matter of fact, the experience goes on as we went to visit a doctor because we thought something is wrong, something is not right, because we've been trying for so long and nothing is happening. It was months. Right? The doctor said, you know what? It seems like you have polycystic ovaries. I was told, To me, I felt there was like a deep hole, because you feel like if you're less than a woman, when you feel like if you're not able to produce, you feel like I thought, you just go and you do what married people do, and you just make your child. That's what I thought. It just happens, right? But I never knew I would have been through such an experience where it took such a long time, and then you were told by the doctor that polycystic ovaries, and then you start thinking in your head, well, there's a possibility I may not be able to have a child. Listen, when that happened, I remember my husband and I prayed. We prayed. As a matter of fact, the doctor put me on, I can't remember the name of, I think it was Clomid or one of those pills. I was on Clomid maybe for a couple of months. And then something happened. Something happened where there was a day, a Sunday, I was in church and the pastor preached about, I think it was Sarah he preached about. I can't remember in the exact order, but I remember the Sunday the pastor preached on, I think it was Sarah, concerning how she had a child in her old age, and it was like a miracle. The Monday I went to work, the assembly was on, I think it was another woman who, I can't remember the name of the woman from the Bible right now, but another woman who, it was like a miracle she had a child. I think it was Hannah. And then something else happened. Somebody was telling a story the same day about yet another woman in the Bible. I say, God, you're speaking to me. I say, God, you had to be speaking to me. All right. And from that day, I said, you know what? I'm coming off these pills. Would you believe a couple months later, I was pregnant. And when I check it back, I realized that after I came off that pill, it was God's miracle. I was pregnant that I knew it was true, but it was like a miracle. Listen, God did it for us. And might be somebody out there today wondering if you could have a child. It was a miracle for me because of what the doctor said. I thought maybe I would not be able to have children. But it was such a wonderful, wonderful experience getting pregnant. I can't say that I like the part about, getting extra fat and all your under your neck looking extra dark. And listen, I don't even think I have any pregnant pictures. That's how terrible I find I look. I really, really, okay, maybe my
I have
husband have a
one.
two hidden, but listen, I didn't want any pictures because to me, oh my gosh, I was, my foot didn't swell so much, but listen, if you saw me then, you would not recognize me. Those who saw me when I was pregnant and didn't know me before, and they see me now, they would probably pass me straight on the street. That's how different I looked. Nose spreading so well up, all kind of thing, face turned dark, dark, dark. And listen,
I used to say, Minister, lady, you knows it all.
listen, I did not want anybody taking any pictures of me when I was pregnant. That's so I did not like, I love the experience of feeling this child inside of you and the first kick. Oh my gosh, it was like a miracle. It's like, oh my gosh, this feels so awesome. And it's only, listen, going, I don't know if we have time for me to tell this whole story, but the going fast forwarding a little bit, right? Being home and the day that I delivered, right, my first son, I felt the Braxton Hicks, the contractions. And I see, but no, this feels a little bit different. I find I getting more and more. And when I started timing it, I see, but no, it looked like I in labor based on what I read up and so. Because you know, as a mother, as a new mother, you're reading all you can. You're reading. You know, in your first trimester, you know, when you reach the second one, you know all the little things and everything. You're reading because it's your first time. So I read a lot. So at that point, I say, yes, you look like I'm in labor, boy. So I tell my husband, look what happened. And I think we need to, you know. So Fadna, Fadna told me, "You sure?" I say, yes, I'm sure. So we leave and we go down to the hospital now. All right. I can't remember all the details as to what happened on the way to the hospital, but I sure as they, that man was there blowing, and hazard lights on. And I was feeling kind of nervous because I'm not accustomed to that, you know, blowing, and hazard light on, and people wondering, you know, what's going on and all kind of thing. But we got to the hospital, and I, it was around October. He was born the 14th of October. Listen, I never threw up so in my life. I did not have one single set of well, let me not say I didn't have any kind of symptoms during my pregnancy, but I was normal. I did not have morning sickness like other people. I didn't have no other set of bad feelings and all these things that people had. But as I got closer to delivery, I started vomiting and vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. You know, I vomited up. I remember around that time we had a lot of golden apples. So I was vomiting green. I can't remember what they call it in Trinidad. What you call it?
Publicity.
Pomsite?
Yeah,
Right.
same
I think
golden apple. Yeah,
Yeah.
golden.
yes.
Yeah.
I vomit green, I vomit. Listen, by the time they get me into the delivery room, so I'm just trying to share my whole experience. By the time I got into the delivery room, I remember I was there, boy. Listen, couple nurses inside there, a particular nurse that I wanted there to wanted to be with me. All right, a very close friend of the family. She was there. Listen, I there, and when it's time to push, they're telling me push. Listen, all how I push, they tell me, no, you're not pushing. I push. They tell me, no, you're not pushing. I say, but how you mean I'm not pushing? And I feel like if I push in, listen, this man of God, right? This man they call Minister Sabi, Minister Justin Sabazan, in the midst of all my stress and my pain, go tell me after the doctor say,
Yeah,
look, the
yeah, what
child,
she, yeah, what she,
listen,
Bishop, yeah, what she remember.
listen. And I remember very distinctly because I was upset. I pushing, I pushing. The nurse telling me, listen, if you don't push the child heart rate going down, you're gonna lose this. My husband go turn and tell me, I want my child. I want my child. Like if I don't want my child too. I want my child. In the midst of my pain, going through all this pain. And I pushing and I tired and pushing and trying and go watch me and tell me, I want my child.
I want my child.
But I want my child too.
Oh man,
I want my child too.
awesome,
All right.
awesome
But
testimony.
God was good.
Wow,
Listen,
wow.
and you know what happened? I think it was because I was not able to. The Jedediah came maybe a couple weeks before he was due, so that I did not get my last session with my doctor. So in terms of pushing, and so I didn't read up on that part. I don't think I was reading about everything else but pushing. So I didn't know how to push until the nurse tell me, listen,
Push like if you
think
want
about,
to.
listen, you're in tongue. And you know what? You're in tongue a long time. This is a story she gave me. She said you're in tongue a long time, and you really want to use the toilet, boy. And then you finally reach home, but you're constipated. Push as if you're constipated, and you really need to push that thing out. And that is how I knew how to push when she
But,
told me that.
but he didn't push, he still didn't push it the right way. You know.
Listen,
The nurse had to go on top and push out the child for
that's
her. You
how
know.
Jedediah came out.
Jeddah
Yeah.
came out under real pressure.
Yes, he came out. The nurse
Mm.
had to help me push him out. But
Wow.
praise God.
Awesome.
Praise
Awesome.
God, that child was born.
So
And
tell
I,
me, what was your reaction when you first laid eyes on him?
God, I cannot explain. It was just like the most awesome feeling ever. You know, this thing, this person came out of me. It was like a unexplainable feeling. And from there on, I was in love. I mean, I was in love with my husband, yes, but that was a different kind of love.
Wow.
I'm telling you, when you become a mother, all right, there is something different that happens inside of you. It's like your whole life changes, your the way you look at people, the way there is such a special bond there and a feeling that I cannot quite explain. But it's an awesome and wonderful feeling that everyone would want to experience. Trust me. It's a beautiful feeling.
Every woman, not
Every
everyone.
every woman would want to experience.
That goes without saying.
Oh yes.
What I would like to ask, hold
Oops,
on.
sorry about
Oh my.
that.
Yeah, what I would like to ask is when you saw him, Sabi, how did you
Minister,
feel?
Minister, I had my own episode of this thing. Yes, you have no idea. This thing was. I remember I had to leave. I think I had to. Was it for him or for Zion? I had to leave and go back home because she was in labor for quite a while. I
That was
wanted
with
with
Zion.
Zion.
Yeah, that was with
Oh,
Zion.
with this one I
Check.
stayed right there.
You were right there.
Right,
You
right,
were
right.
right there.
Yeah, but it felt really good to to see your son, child for the first time. Hmm. I think the whole experience was more traumatic. You understand? Hearing all these things about killed child and all of that. And I mean, in that period, there was a lot to think about, you know. And trying to jog my memory back here, because we're talking like
Yeah.
about what
10 years
10,
back.
11 years
11
approximately
years.
back here.
Almost 11 years
Yeah.
back.
So I think I have more memory of the last one, it
Hmm.
was 7 years,
Hmm.
than the first one. I remember the last one particularly because I had to leave and she was in labor long and I had to go back home and I was frightened for my life and I was, frightened for her life, frightened for the child and I was deep praying. I was like, God, help me and please Lord, don't let nothing happen to my wife. I was on the ground. I mean, I was up whole night. I barely didn't sleep. You know what I mean? And the whole thing of becoming a father also was a wonderful experience. I think labor itself, it does something to you. The process of labor itself. Yeah. When not the time during the pregnancy if you have a nice smooth pregnancy, but when the day of labor comes,
Hmm.
they say big man does cry, all sort of things. Some men does knock out. You
Some
know,
fainting.
I stayed and I watch everything. You understand? I see everything. I was there. I was strong. Yeah.
Ah.
But I was too strong. I was too strong. I didn't know what to say. Nobody didn't teach me that.
Ah.
Yeah,
So
that
but we wanted children. That was a beautiful thing. We didn't make our children like we didn't get up one day and found out we were pregnant. It was more of a situation where we were actually interested in having children. We were praying about it and asking God for children. Before we even say, God, we want, He already answered the next one. He didn't waste no time with that. He's like, the womb was open, and if I wanted to go for 5 times after that, I believe I would have been getting. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ah.
it's an awesome experience. So, Minister, you tell us about your situation. We will be here from
but
you.
before I talk, I want to hear Bishop's
She only want to
experience.
put us on the spot. Anyway, no problem,
I, I,
Bishop.
I want to hear, you see how Sabi was able to tell us the first time he saw, because Bishop, you might not know, but this boy looks exactly like Sabi. He smiles like
I
him.
can imagine. I can imagine.
Listen, every single thing. He
Yeah.
smiles like him, the head, the nose, everything. Bishop, when you see this boy,
God.
you see Sabi. I never see both.
Hey.
You understand his nuances and the way his squinty eye,
So,
everything is.
so, Minister, two of them look like me, okay?
Ah.
I know how to get mixed up.
The second one is becoming. I think he's becoming, he's growing into it. But
Ah.
he was looking like
He reached
Janelle,
it.
right?
Yeah. All
Right?
right.
So Bishop, tell us how you felt. because you're part of the scenario also when you first, because you're here representing Sister Gloria, Sister Arlene.
Yeah, it was a 7 year wait for the experience. So we got married in 1996. So we waited for 7 years, and we had the same medical issue that Sabi and his wife encountered. Medically, it was impossible, highly impossible, because of the medical condition. The polycystic ovaries were there, and we encountered a prophetic setting whereby, for the first time, there was a prophetic minister who had a shofar. So we were invited to this service, and the church that we had to go to was a church that I grew up as a boy, but we had moved away from that location for quite some years. And so they brought this minister, and here am I in this service, reminiscing of where I used to sit and where I used to play, because we were invited and we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what to, expect, because for the first time the prophetic was coming on stream, and we never saw a shofar, and it was just a beautiful experience. And in that service, we had the shofar blow and sound over our lives. And from that moment, we never knew that the process started there. And the moment the process started, you had the children coming like a shower of rain.
How many, Bishop? How many?
4. We have 3 beautiful girls and a boy. And no matter what we did after, that was it. We couldn't go past, we couldn't restart. God sent them like a shower of rain. And we were just blessed to have the first experience that was a blessing. And the first was a girl. Her name is Abigail. So when Abby came, I was like, I didn't know if to laugh, if to cry. It was an experience that froze me to see this red ball of joy. It was just a beautiful experience in the maternity ward. And you wanted to follow when they took her to even go to the other area of the hospital. You wanted to follow them. You did not want to lose sight. You wanted to ensure that where they were going, you knew where to find, because the prenatal ward was filled with babies at that point in time. So you wanted to ensure that everything was okay. It was a beautiful birth, not very long labor, but that was my experience. It was just awesome.
As Bishop said that day, Minister, I remember also when Jed was born, there was another hard process where I think he had jaundice or something like that
Yeah.
in
Jaundice.
jaundice in his eyes, and he couldn't go home, and had to be going back there, and all these lights and a whole heap of thing. That was another story again, because it's one thing when the child is born and he can literally go home with the child, but when the child has to remain in the hospital with his mother is another story, because you can't get your bundle of joy to go home within 2 days. You had to wait a whole 2 weeks. That is penance, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with my story, I went and I troubled sex out of wedlock, and I got pregnant, and I did not know I was pregnant until I think I was about 2.5 months
Mm.
pregnant. I was very athletic, very much involved in. I played basketball, tennis, volleyball. I played pan. I did everything, right? Track and field. So everything was. I would run for sometimes about 5 miles, 6 miles, basically nearly every day. So everything was really compact in this little body. So to figure out that I was pregnant was virtually impossible. So my symptoms was I was getting a lot of headaches. And I went and I told my mom, and my mother's like, Sandra, you know the family high blood pressure. Maybe it's blood pressure. You need to go to the doctor and see if your pressure high. Well, I did go to the doctor, and after the doctor examined me, the doctor told me, barely 2.5 months pregnant. I sat on the bed. The doctor's bed, being the firstborn, I was enrolled to go to New York State University to do physical health education. And coming from a prominent family, it was a disappointment to my parents. And I remember along the way, my mother said, Sandra, you having sex? No, mommy, no, mommy, no, I don't know anything about it. So to go home and tell my parents, my mother and my father, that I was pregnant, of course, it's to admit that I was sexually active. And boy, I remember the day I went home and I called my mother and my father into my bedroom. I put 2 chairs and I told them, to sit. And very calmly, I told my mother and my father, well, mommy, you asked me a question a while ago. I want you to know that I lied. I went to the doctor and I'm pregnant. It didn't make any sense. I butted it up. My mother looked at my father. My father looked at my mother and said, well, I dumb. My father said, I dumb. My mother said, I dumb. And they left the room. They came back about 15 minutes later to tell me that they had discussed it. They made a decision that my life is not going to be put on pause and that I was going to have an abortion the following day. They were going to come and meet me around 1 o'clock, take me to the abortion clinic. Well, that day, when they spoke, I have a very creative mind. I have a interesting mind. That little mind at that time kicked into plan how I was going to escape this. The father of the baby was living in, of course, Tobago. I'm Trinidadian. And I had no money at all. I had no resources. And I made up my mind, that's it. I saw everything about abortion in school. And I'm not going to do no abortion because the risk of not being able to have another child is one thing. And then I was a Christian. Even so, I was in to some extent a backslidden state. My fear for God was great. And I made a decision I was not going to have an abortion. So that day I planned, I organized, and 4:30 in the morning I climbed through the window and a neighbor gave me a ride to the airport, plus loaned me some money, and I ended up in Tobago to let the father of the baby know. In them days, you can't already phone to call and all that drama, that I'm pregnant. And I stayed away 2 days because it was kind of funny with the plane, so I couldn't get back the same day. So the following day when I got back, my entire family stopped speaking to me. My entire family, which is made up, of course, my mother, my father, and my sister. No brothers. And they did not speak to me for, I don't know, maybe about 5 going on 6 months. I was on this journey alone. And it was a very painful time of my life because I had to walk. I remember because I was always athletic, I still did a lot of this stuff, climb trees with my big belly. I would walk for miles. I kept fit. And I would walk and I would pick bush and there's a portion of scripture that comforted me for the entire experience. And not until it was close to the birth of that child that my mother came and she said, well, becoming a mother, your foot is in, one foot is in the graveyard and one foot is out. And you need to eat. And at that time, she went into, as I call it, panic mode and started giving me pumpkin soup and all kind of something. And they got involved in the process like about maybe 2 months before I had the child. And it was then, I knew, of course, you're young, you're in love, you want to have a child. It's a desire to have a child. Just that I didn't even know. I was 16 years old and taking contraceptive and thought it was balloon and blowing it. I did not even know that them rubber sting that the men and them using, that it was contraceptive. I was that daft. I did not know. We are tying it up as balloon and throwing it and whatnot because In those days, you couldn't ask your parents, explain this sex thing. The minute you talk about sex, Sister Stabby, you getting beat up because they're telling you that you're not supposed to be thinking about that. So I'm looking through the Oxford Dictionary to find out what is this sex thing. And there's nobody to explain to me all these feelings that I'm having inside of me. So when my first sex, I can say it openly, as you all know, I don't have any shame at all at this junction, and thank God. My first sex was date rape. You understand? I was not prepared for that. But when you go, as I call it, in an environment where it is conducive for something like that, it can happen, and it did happen, right? Even though I said a million no's, it still happened. And with the father kneeling down at the bed after saying he's sorry, 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 but what was done was done. You understand? So after the fact, here I am prepared to go to make this child, and all the emotional, all these emotions are going on inside of me of becoming a mother. I had to have strength for me and my child. I had to deal with all the external battles that was going on outside. And to some extent, I knew that becoming a mother, it was going to affect my child. Because that rejection, it was actually passed on to my first boy. My first boy, he always has this sense of not being enough, right? I want, why I'm going down this route, I want mothers to understand, right? Because I know there are a lot of women that are in the position that I was in. And you have children that are exhibiting certain things that you can begin to understand. Because when the child came, let me tell you something, it was madness. My mom and my father fell in love at first sight. That was it. End of story. But the damage was already done. So here it is. I'm becoming a mother. The father is supposed to be there. He's in Tobago. That's right. I am very open in terms of red flags is red flags. Yes, even back then, he was having a good time with a woman, right? While I was in the labor ward, right? Running up and down, getting all kind of stuff pumped up in me because the child, not coming and all kind of thing. And I kneeling down by the bed and asking God for forgiveness when I feel the crazy pain, labor pain. I saying, God, I will never do the sex thing again. That's it, God. That's it. I'm done with the sex thing. Forgive me, God. Take away this pain. Please take it away. You understand? And I was wounded for my transgressions and bruised for my iniquity, because I'm telling you, this pain was no normal pain, Bishop. This is not
Hey.
normal. Sister Sabi, this is not normal. So I was running up and down labor ward, kneeling down by people's bed. About 3-4 times, the doctor them had to take me, carry me back to the bed, drug me to keep me quiet, because every time I feel the pain, I'm jumping up from the bed and I'm running. I say, listen, Mel, take this thing, take this child off me. But you know something? They settled me down after a day and a half. This boy, I took him in labor pain on Easter Sunday night. This boy was born on Easter Monday. And when he came forth, it was a very turbulent delivery. He swallowed fluid from inside of me. So just as Jed, I couldn't carry him home. But I'm telling you, when my eyes first saw Marvin, my whole world changed. His father is from Indian lineage, so he came. He's like a Frenchman. He was pretty red with brown eyes. With it didn't come out of me because my head is as hard and you name it and whatnot. I'm like, I am authentic Negro. You understand? So when my mom came. I don't know, Chester, you Bishop, you remember they used to have a thing they call Tanty Come to Town with Paul Clean Douglas with a basket, with all kind of thing. But my mother was Tanty Come to Town. After months of neglecting me, right? She came to the hospital with a basket with food for 6 people. Fruits for 6 people. You name it, Sabi. because here was her first grandchild. But I'm telling you, the trajectory of my life changed forever. I could not have think about going to America again to do that course in university. I now had to live for another person. Becoming a mother, as I said, is a very serious, deep, deep sacrificial experience that you become, it's as if you put God aside to some extent. You become the hedge, right? You become covering your nature, your everything to
Yeah.
that beautiful, beautiful, creature that is placed in your hand. You don't want to fly to land on that creature. And all you see that creature that God produced out of you in the distance, that if you do that which is necessary, beautiful, a beautiful human being. So becoming a mother, it is indescribable. That's the only way that you can put it. Sabi, you become doctor, nurse, police, fireman, teacher, you name it. You become security guard, you become helicopter to hover sometimes, you become everything. You understand? When you become a mother,
Yeah.
it's a value system that kicks in that you and all cannot begin to understand. Becoming a mother.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and that's just the beginning of motherhood. It all starts with for some a desire, for some maybe an accident, but at the end of the day, it is God who decides who gets the wear that cap of nobility, if you want to call it that, that noble cap, or of a mother. One of the things I recognized when we were trying for a child, I remember I was praying and I was saying, God, how can have people who don't want children making children? So why I can't make you? I didn't go that kind of way and just do all kind of thing. I mean, I was a young man. I mean, it was a couple of years after we got married, and I got married at 23, right? So I'm like, God, I could have been out there doing it crazy, right? I refuse to follow the patterns that I was taught without even asking to learn them, right? So that is what you see, or what you saw then. Everybody making child, like, as they say, like mango falling from tree, right? But for me, I said I wanted to do the thing right, so get a wife, marry, don't as a partner say, get a wife, married, and settle down and do the thing properly, you know. so I remember that time. It was like, I believe God really wanted to show us that he he really is the one who is in charge. Don't think that you can just choose to. And even those who don't even understand why they get a child, because there are people like that, they don't understand why they became a mother, right? Because to them, they were just having fun. For some, it was an unfortunate situation. For some, they were not informed, right? But there are those who have been informed, who have made good choices, and some people, God just bless you. But at the end of the day, it is God who gives children. They don't fall from the tree, they don't fall from the sky.
That's
It
right.
is God who decides you get or who don't get. And people have to learn to come to peace with what God decides. Now, at the end of the day, right, I know a friend of mine, and she and her husband, they had about 9 miscarriages. So she would get pregnant and keep losing the child, but they never gave up. I know another individual who, a friend of the family, no, a family, right, who been trying for years to have a child, and it's like no child. But at some point, you need to come to peace, and I believe, I'm not saying you should accept that as a woman that you cannot make a child. They could say what they want. Bishop said 7 years. Seven is a number of perfection, right? And 7 years he waited and prayed and trusted and tried, and he never gave up because there was Faith was present in becoming that parent that he desired, both him and his wife desired to become. You understand? And God will hear you. Sarah was what age?
Hmm.
90.
90. Right? So some people give up too fast in the journey, right? In terms of saying, and sometimes I believe God does allow this thing that look like if they can't happen there to take your faith to a new dimension because
New level.
he wants to bring you there. But you won't get there unless you want to you take the opportunity to say, I'll try you and see that you are God. I'll believe what you say until it comes to pass. I'll speak it, I'll declare it, I'll decree it until I see it. And even if I don't see it, it doesn't make you less powerful. You're still God on the throne. You're still almighty. You're still all powerful. You know what I mean? So I just want to drop in, but again, let me give you guys an opportunity to share what's on your heart. I have some other thoughts here, but I'll stick there for now. Lady Savvy or Bishop?
Yeah, it's just a beautiful thing to hear, Minister Cassandra, and
Yeah.
especially your wife share, because this is what Psalm 91 is all about. When you read Psalm 91, it's speaking about the coverage that God gives. It's like a mother, and
Mm-hmm.
even when when you're dealing with mothers and females and the stages that they go through, when God wanted the mother to come, he wanted the stage to come where a female is birthed. That is a
Mm-hmm.
dramatic, a miraculous thing, because what God did, he took the female out of the man.
Mm.
So anytime a female is born, the genetic information is directly from the father.
That's
That
right.
is amazing. That is
Mm.
just amazing, because the only time that this was reversed is when Jesus was born to a 16-year-old girl called Mary. It was not a paternity, it was a maternity kind of a thing. Because, to produce what God wants, you have to know that He is the one who, according to Psalm 139, He's clothing that child in the womb. So He's putting not just DNA, but the stages. And after birth, the infancy, then you have the puberty, you have the reproductive years, and then the climaceteric stage of life. And mothers are just a unique design. When you listen to the stages that you have to go through, not knowing and then knowing and preparing and hoping, it is just amazing, because you take all that into the home, and you realize that in the home there is a unique way that the kitchen functions. There's a unique way that the bedroom functions. There's a unique way that the sitting room functions, and the mother happens to have that. It's just a dynamic way of dealing with all these spaces, and it's not just a room. It is a learning platform that would
Mm-hmm.
linger with you throughout all of the stages, whether at puberty, whether at reproductive stage, way into your elderly years. It is just amazing, really amazing.
Well, I also want to let the listeners and viewers know that the line is open. You can feel free to call us on our WhatsApp number if you have, an experience that you feel like you want to share with us this afternoon. For the WhatsApp callers, 403-1031. That's WhatsApp only. But if you want to call on the landline, it is 231-1031. 221-1031. All right. So, Elisabi?
Yes. In sitting and thinking and hearing all that we're talking about, I can't help but reflect back to those times. In motherhood, you have these experiences as a mother. You mothers really are special. We have this. I don't know if to call it an instinct, but such a nurturing part of us that you look out for your children, you look out for your child, you look out for them when they're sick, when they are hurting, right? I'm not saying that dads don't do the same, but there is just something special about a mother that I, I, I just can't put words to it. But there's a special connection between mother and child when a child is sick, when a child is down, when a child, is not, even when they're, on good terms, things are going well. There's just such a special connection between mother and child. And you know what? There are some women out there. They may not be what we call blood mothers. So they did not bring forth a physical child, but really and truly they are just as genuine, just as
That's right.
real as
Amen.
as a
Amen.
they are real mothers because they would do the things that a real mother does for a child, that or for a person they actually consider to be a child, a daughter, a son to them. A mother would pray. A mother would pray for her son or her daughter, whether they're sick or whether they're going through something. There are mothers out there. Again, they may not be the mothers that brought forth the child, but they pray without ceasing on their knees. They bruise their knees night and day. They're praying. They look out for these children, their son or their daughter, whom they consider to be a son or a daughter. They look out for them, whether it is in their career, whether it is at school, whether it is, spiritually, they look out for them. And, there's just something so very special. I don't think that um people, well, no, whether it's whether it's the real motherhood or the one that we call spiritual motherhood, children cannot necessarily choose their mothers. They can't choose, well, they can't choose who would mother them. Neither could they really choose the spiritual mother. Sometimes you might say, yeah, this is my spiritual mother or father. But I think more so it is an instinct that kicks in, right? When you become a spiritual mother, it is an instinct that kicks in so that you see some child, some boy or girl out there that's longing for something or needs something, and that instinct just kicks in. You get in a call.
I think that means Cassandra Coleman.
That was a call online.
Yeah.
All right. But there are some, I just wanted to say, there are some genuinely loving and real mothers that may not have given birth,
Hmm.
but they're more real than some of the,
Well,
the,
I
the
think
ones that actually,
I think that's a gift that these women have. Those
yes,
that, because, okay, remember, there are mothers that don't want to be mothers,
true.
right? And we can't play a blind eye to it. There are many women who they had the opportunity to bring forth a child into the world, and what they did was go to the abortion clinic. Some of them were encouraged, like Minister Cassandra was encouraged too, and some of them make that conscious decision and think this thing is going to stall my life and change the trajectory of my life, so I'm going to abort that child, you know. And then you have those who are they bring the child into the world, right? And after the child come into the world,
Hmm.
what they do? They didn't abort the child, They kill the child because, again, it depends on how you look at self. And I think it's a hard it's a heartbreaking thing, and it's a hard thing for someone to live with, knowing that God blessed you with a child and you will take on yourself and delete that child from the face of the earth. Yeah. And when I say that, there are folks who, like, seriously, they would put the child in a bag, put the child in a garbage bin. We have heard these situations here. If somebody find the child walking by the road, like how you put a dog that you don't want anymore in a box and just leave that animal by the side of the road of a garbage bin. Some would even wrap up the child and kill the child and hope that the garbage truck will, you understand? So there are people who get pregnant and they hide for all the months. Big adults, they would leave and go someplace where nobody would get to see them and hide that pregnancy, and they don't want nobody to know that they are pregnant. They made a child, or they even pregnant, and when they're done, some would even say straight to a home, what you call that, a home for unwanted children,
Orphanage.
orphanage.
Hmm.
And then what you have happening is that these children, they grow and they did not experience a loving mother, a caring mother, a mother that, wanted them. And the worst part is when you're the mother that you didn't throw away the child, but you're living your life with regret that you have that child. And you see that child as somebody who is there to deplete your resources. And you see it as an unfortunate situation that you have to take care of. So that's why sometimes you have such abuse happening verbally and then physically too, right? Because it's all about the way how these mothers who have been through these traumatic situation and people making them feel like they are less off because they become pregnant at a young age. And the sad thing is that they go into a relationship with another man who is not even the father of the child. And you see it all the time. So now you are a mother of a child you don't want, but a man is interested in you. You form a relationship with that man. He's there not for the child because he's saying that is not my child. You may even make a child for him, but both of all you not accepting both children. You understand?
Minister Sabi,
Mm-hmm.
being a mother really
Open up,
is,
open up your a part of you, so to speak. I think.
yes, being a mother really is not an easy thing.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how you look at it. Because it's easy to love when you receive love, when you have grown up in that environment where you receive the kind of nurturing and so that
Give.
you so
Mm,
needed. But then there are those mothers who do not understand how to love, how to nurture, how to care about another little one because maybe, just maybe, they did not receive that kind of love. They did not receive that kind of nurturing growing up. Or maybe at some point in their life, they experienced, they had, and by no means am I making any excuse for mothers who choose to, abort or to treat their children in any kind of derogatory way. All right. But I'm just trying to empathize with mothers out there, with those women out there who maybe, you become a mother and maybe you did not choose to, maybe you were raped, maybe, as I said, you did not receive the kind of nurturing you needed, and mistakes were made, right? Because maybe there might be somebody listening out there. You went through some kind of difficulty in your youth, or maybe in your life growing up. At some point, you went through some kind of traumatic experience, and the way you sought um, to treat your baby was in a way that society does not accept. It's a way that you now regret, because I think most of the times, or all of the times, these mothers who commit these kind of crimes, they live to regret it. The abortion, they live to regret it. They When you give up your child, sometimes in a lot of cases you live to regret it. You want to see that child. There are a lot of mothers out there who make these mistakes and they live to regret it. It's like, it's because that child that you gave birth to is a part of you, is a part of you. There is some kind of bond there, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you not want to accept it or not. There's a bond there. There is something, all right, because that child came from within you,
Yeah.
right? But I just want to let somebody know out there, if there's somebody who's listening, a mother who maybe you may have committed abortion, right? You may have treated your child in such a way that you really regret. You may have done some things as a mother that you really regret. But as long as you're alive, there is still hope. There is still hope, maybe to reconcile with your son or your daughter. There is still hope for God to turn things around for you as long as you have life. There's a chance for God to make things new for you, change things around, and even your own life. All right, because um, sometimes in life we make decisions, and at the spur of the moment, maybe you feel you're under pressure. Maybe you think that's the only thing you can do. Like in maybe somebody in a similar situation as Sister Cassandra was in. Maybe a parent tell you that is what you need to do. Maybe you feel like the world is against you, and the only thing you can do is just abort this child, or as Minister Sabi say, you might give birth to the child, but then you decide to, after the child born, you do something to, well, we can't call it abortion, but child born, you might, murder, all right, or whatever it is. There is still hope in Christ. There is still hope to make things right. God is a forgiving God, despite God is still forgiving.
Forgiven.
And
Mhm.
I just like to put in two little experiences. I lost my third child, right?
Mr.
Um,
Williams, take a call. Can you call in here, Ollie?
Hello, hello, hello.
I
Hello.
don't know what you're doing on this phone. I thought your face was supposed to be on the screen. But anyway,
Supposed to be on the screen.
yeah, you find so?
Oh God, well, I be in late, so I didn't bother to come on. But
All
I still had a call to give my 2 cents.
right. Go ahead, ma'am.
Because I hear Minister Sabi talking to Miss Linnell, and with me becoming a mother, I became a mother at 24. And I think my story was kind of mixed up because when I wasn't prepared, two, my community of my little island where I'm from is very small, and my family is well known. And everybody knows us. She grew up in church. So coming to be pregnant and then being pregnant for someone who, well, now I'm free to talk about it. It was domestic violence. And sometimes you're young in a relationship and you're like, you could love them out of it, But when I got pregnant and I had my son, it was when he was 2 months. First of all, my pregnancy was great. I love being pregnant and all of that. But being a young woman who is pregnant or even becoming a mother, it's no longer, Sabi, sorry to say about you, if you're in a relationship. It kind of goes to, you know what, I'm a mother and I'm responsible for this life. Like, whoever it is you have the child with, they big, they grown. It was a pressure on me and knowing where I came from and my background as believing in Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior. I had a responsibility now to bring up my boy child. And one of the things that played a key was what I'm going through, I don't want another young lady coming to complain and say, this is what your son doing to me. So I choose to make a decision. It wasn't hard, but I think that was the nail in the coffin to leave at under any circumstance, just to leave because I was responsible for this little life. And I have not regretted the decision to leave for him. But that is a whole other testimony by itself. Um, After that, now being a mother again, I would say being responsible for him, I had to start to grow up and make decisions based on me being a mother, not for anybody else, but a mother. And I remember going through these situations as a single mother and crying because you want so much for this child, and then you're seeing this child growing up and you're not sure, or you don't understand the human emotions of the other person, why they don't want to be around, or why they don't want to be a good person in order, to put in certain things into this child foundation. But I must say at this point, God had another plan. I remember Holy Spirit telling me a day that I couldn't even breathe. My eyes were swollen. I was just crying because I didn't know what to do. And I was like, God, I don't know. Like, you had a Sunday husband. I remember Holy Spirit telling me, write it. Like, write down what you want. And I remember the first thing I write was a father for my son. And listen to me, I just say, God sent the father for my son. God sent a husband for me. The only thing he didn't send was the height in him. But every single thing was on that paper. I got it. My son did not miss out on anything. I got in-laws that you would not know they are not biological. Everything, they would fight me. Literally meet me in the streets and fight me for my son. I have two children, a girl. That wasn't planned, and that was a next testimony by itself because I had a ectopic pregnancy when I got married, and they took out one tube. So people was like, the doctor was like, you might be able to have a child again. Thing. It wasn't a big deal to us because one already existed. but but soon after, I had to go back to the hospital feeling some pains, and I remember the same nurse who dealt with me. She said, "Why are you here?" When we took the pregnancy test, she said, "This don't normally happen." She said, "No, you're pregnant." So even with her now, it was a glorious experience. I was studying around the same time, and I was explaining to mommy someday, and I was like, "My daughter, I don't know if it's because I was finishing up my studies. She came out like this is the child. This is the child that would you could throw her off of a cliff and she would build wings coming down. That's that child." And I want to say to people, because my situation with my boy child at first was really difficult. Like God always provides. No matter how the child come, no matter what circumstances or mindset you might be in when you get pregnant. I just tell people the sin is the fornication, but not the child. Don't put it on the child. Like bring up the child for the best, to the best way you know how. Because watch me, plenty people out here praying for what you have or the opportunity that God is granting you to bring a life that you are responsible for. And if God sees you fit to put certain things in this child's life or certain things or gifts you have that you need to impart into this child's life, do it. And sometimes it's whether or not, as Sister Sabi was saying, whether or not you birth this child or not. Sometimes you don't even have to birth this child. Sometimes when you meet a child, you meet your child. Even if it's in somebody else's arms and you feel responsible for that child, be that parent, no matter what, be that parent. And with that note, I want to say people nowadays, we need to get back to when you choose a God parent, it's not just to help buy milk and pampers. It's not just around birthday time. These are people today or tomorrow. You and your significant other don't exist. You are comfortable raising, putting a foundation for your child, making sure they go the right direction. Like this is make sure your godparents are covered by God. Like put it in prayer to say who to be the godparents. Too often we just take, oh, I'm a friend. Hey, see me and come live with me is two different things. Make sure your children are in good hands with this godparent situation. So that is my 2 cents, Sabi. I must give 4, but I'm sensitive.
You could
Thanks
do
for
it.
the dollar. Thanks for the dollar.
She gave a $1.
It was a good
A good
dollar.
dollar.
Yes, a good
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah, yeah. So,
So
mhm.
I go
So
on.
God,
It can
so
be.
God parents also have to understand that when this woman is pregnant, they are becoming mothers also. You are part of this scenario. And she's right. Godparents, I don't know, when you have a Christian these days in church and you see the crowd by the pulpit and you watch the characters, you understand? A little way down the road, the child not even getting a present. You understand? They're just there for the day to represent. And this is a lifelong commitment that at the end of the day, anything happens to your child, these are the people that will step in and take care of the child. I wanted to, before Candice came on, I wanted to share, something Sister Sabi said. I had an experience where I lost my third child. And the void, at that time of my life, I wanted a child. I needed Marvin and Candice they were grown. And I felt as if I really needed a child. Of course, you do your thing and you find out you're pregnant. So anyway, I'm not getting pregnant with the third child. And boy, I was so happy. I was like super, super, super happy. I couldn't wait. Candice and Marvin could not wait. Their father could not wait. I started to see all the little clothes and all the this and all the that and all the something. And I lost that child. The child was 6 months and something. The child died in me. And going to the hospital, it was an attack from the enemy, a diabolical attack from the enemy, because not only did the child die inside of me, the nurse, the baby, my body, what they call the thing, rejected the child, because one of the things they say with that sort of situation, your body must reject the child. And the child came out at 7:15 and the morning, and the nurse went home and leave the afterbirth up inside of me. So around 9 o'clock, I'm still feeling all this pain. And somebody just happened to pass by the hospital to check on me, and I am in the ward. And I said, how are you doing? I said, well, I still feel as if I'm in labor pain. She said, what? They ran and they get, it was a nurse, the bedpan, and when she pressed it, the whole afterbirth came out. They rushed me straight to the theater, right, to deal with that. Why am I saying this? You see, the people who do abortions, I believe how I felt. You see that void? It took me a while, Sabi, Bishop, Sister Sabi, to deal with the loss of that child. After the loss of that child, I kept the weight, because you know the purpose of the baby breastfeeding and all of this is actually to snap everything back into place. And I kept the weight. I kept everything. After that, it wasn't miniature Cassandra. It was chunky Cassandra after that. But what I'm talking about is the void that I was left with. It stayed with me for a couple of years. It was awful. I felt so violated. I cried in silence. Nobody could understand the loss of a child. For the mothers that out there that keep, you keep having miscarriages, I want to tell you, Jesus understands. I want you to understand that Jesus knows your pain. And for those who talk about people who go through that experience, oh, she can't keep her child, she can't hold this. Listen, it's a very, 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 very painful thing that leaves you absolutely empty, because life leaves your body. The life, and I want you to understand also that in life and in death, with a child, it pleases God to separate that child from your womb, because that child could have stayed there and be further danger and damage to you. And secondly, I want to share my mother. I want everybody here on the panel to give their experience on something impacting about their mother that they remember that changed their life. What I can tell you about my mom is that my mom, and Sister Sabi, you shared it a little while also, my mom never heard, Florence, I love you. She never heard it. Florence, from her parents, Florence, I love you. My mother was one of 7 children, and she was the maid. And these are now things now that she's deceased, I'm understand. She was the maid. She was the one that was the darkest, because my grandmother was Spanish and white mix up and slave thing now. So she was the dark one. And the first girl that she was the maid. And not only was she the maid, she was sexually molested by her brother. So my mother had a kind of persona that she never taught herself as anything of worth. And then you have girls coming into the scenario. You don't know how to love them, Sister Savi, the same thing. You don't know how. You have become a mother, and you don't know how to love your girls. You don't know how to treat your girls. But I thank God for his goodness. I thank God for intercepting my destiny when I accepted Jesus Christ, because those same experiences would have flowed over to the next generation if it was not for God. If it wasn't for God loving me and seeing value in me, you understand? And breaking into that old order and saying, you are part of the new covenant. Marvin and Candace would not have experienced this new version, improved version of Cassandra Powder. So the reality of life is that as a lot of women become mothers, but they become mothers in a state of absolute rejection, depression, condemnation. You understand? And they grow in that, and they continue to exist in that extended family situation. And it rolls over to the child. And that is why we have situations in our nation where you have teenagers that are lost because they were never mothered. They just were never mothered. So I wanted to share that, yes, we have situations in our nation. Our nation is in crisis, whether Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad. This world is in crisis, in need of mothers and fathers, because we all are products of our environment.
Very well said. And as you're speaking, I think about the women out there who are a product of trauma. You know, they are now parent themselves, but they never got an opportunity to learn what it is to be a good parent to their children. So whatever idea they have in their mind, they think that is what you know a parent is all about or a mother is all about. So, for example, one might just think it is just to buy food and clothes and provide shelter for my children. Children these days, they come into the world and they say this is computerized children. They have a whole different mind comparing to us. This morning I went to the barber shop. The gentleman said to me, "Boy, when I was younger, my mother and them, when Christmas time comes around, they buy me a big truck and put it there. And in the morning, when I wake up, I get the truck and I say to me, Santa Claus brought that day." And he said, for years, I believed that. And I was like, I trying to figure it out. Like, how Santa Claus come to my roof? There's no hole there. And I'm trying to figure this thing out, but I can't figure it out. When I get old, I realize this thing ain't making no sense. They were lying for me all the while. And what am I saying? As I use this analogy, a lot of children grow up believing whatever they've been told. And when they're being told the stories, especially when there's no father, he's a good for nothing person, you understand? It is causing some damage in their mind and in their heart, right? As to what the expectations gonna be like when they themselves become, especially a woman become uh, a, a mother, right? Someone who has a child. Now, I believe, and I made that note earlier on, that I believe that we as parents have to be intentional with our children and teach them and let them know you're teaching them to be as a mother or a father one day, right? I practice it with my son. When I see certain attitude coming out, I say to him, "Young man, the reason why I'm trying to teach you these things because one day you're going to be a father." So he knows I'm saying it to him. You will be, both of you guys will be father one day, and you need to understand there are certain responsibilities that comes under the hat of fatherhood. Now, this for a man, but a woman should do the same thing to her daughter, and likewise, a mother should teach her son how to be a good husband also, and also if she has a daughter, how to be a good mother and wife. But most times it's just left up to the child to now come up with an idea as to what they think it is, and they become replicas as of what they have experienced. So they just more or less is a duplicate completely. And then it becomes when they meet a young man like my son now, who I work hard, read books, you understand, invest in, and try to teach him to be a good son, a good husband, and now he probably fall for a nice looking young lady alone. Then when he start talking about certain values that I taught him intentionally, good Christian, good values, good godly values, and not just saying it, but showing it in my imperfect self, doing the best I can with what I have and finding more to give, right? As I develop as a man, as a husband, as a wife develop as a mother, as a woman, her children should be developing. She's developing and we are developing for the sake of our children so that the generation can be different. Years ago, I said, God, when I look at my family, um, like cousins and aunts and all of these people, yeah, minister, they all made children very young, one after the other, that type of things. My son name is Sabazan, and I never wanted to change it because the community I grew up in, I saw my young. Listen, I was telling somebody the other day. When my mother had me, my grandmother had a son. Me and my uncle is about the same age. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And at the same time, I had a cousin around the same age with me. So my mother sister also was pregnant. It means that my grandmother, my mother, and her sister was pregnant at the same time. And my mom said to me, there are some things that they didn't teach us. So when you were younger, right, 17 years, she made my first son, my first brother, right? And me, I came after when she was about 20. You get a picture? And she said to me, I busy trying to feed all you. The thing then was I was busy trying to feed you and take care of you the best way I can. So there are certain aspects that I didn't get that I cannot give because I don't have it. How much harder is it for me now as a son later on to know have to become a father where my father also didn't give me certain things. Now I have to take what I get and I have to become responsible. And I think the problem a lot of young ladies today who are mothers is that they keep blaming. They blaming their parents and they stay in that place and be just what it is they got. They're not going to try to become different and say, you know what? I cannot duplicate, replicate. I cannot do that. I have to do the best I can. And I would get information. What our God tell us in all our getting, what we should get? What should we get?
Understanding.
Get wisdom, get understanding. Principal
Get
thing.
wisdom. And that's it. Read a book. Go and get information to be a better mother to your children or to your child. You don't have to repeat what exactly you got. It could change. It starts with you. And I said to myself, I want to be a different Sabazan. No, my parents are married. I don't want this. I don't want this on him. I don't want this on him.
The new
I
surname.
don't want a new surname. I want to keep the old one. I said that before I even was a Christian. I said, God, I want to be a different Sabazan. And
Yeah.
that different Sabazan mean God had to break out some generational curses. You understand? I said to my mom because she got married last year, right? She's well in her 50s and my dad is in his 60s, right? And I said to her, well, look, I just missed the thought, just like that, But I said to my mom, I can't remember, Lord, just like that. Maybe I didn't have to say that, but yeah, because I literally just lost the thought. But it's amazing.
You were saying about the name. You didn't want the name.
No, I said I didn't want the surname, the new surname. I
Yeah,
good, I
It'll
good
be Chico
because
Sabbath, and it's
because I
unique.
want I want the generation to change. You don't have to be you don't have to be just as the family you came from. You can be different.
Mhm.
True.
And with God, they could, and there is a difference in your life when you trust God. When you commit your entire life to God, He is going to make the difference in your life. So now, when the new generation comes out, He came out from my loins. That is the same surname, but you see a whole different attitude, a whole different kind of person, a whole new generation. I was glad when God gave us two sons because I say no man don't have no opportunity to change or even put a piece to it. You understand? So that to me was like a blessing. And my wife wanted us a daughter, and Zion was a very
You still
beautiful
could have
son.
a daughter.
Let's not go there.
Minister, Mr. Cassandra, all right, leave me alone, please. You
Oh man.
understand?
Oh
She been
Lord.
troubling me about a whole year now. Thank God he ain't speaking to you about that. You know? So
Yeah. I just saw it. I just saw it. I don't know. Let me don't say it, but I just saw it.
You
Bishop,
saw it?
Bishop,
Yeah.
hold on, guys. Can we take a commercial break real quick? Just take a pin. We'll be right back in a second. Just hold a pin there.
Yeah.
Your mom is special and she deserves the best. Treat mom this Mother's Day with a special lunch at Point Celine's Hotel. You can book one of our special spa treatments at our in-house Eden Spa, just for mom, mom and you, or you can even add another family member. For more information, you can call 444-4123 or 407-0074. Let mom feel extra special this Mother's Day. Live entertainment will also be available from 11 to 6 p.m.
All right. So can we switch to the next part of the conversation now as we continue? All
Oh,
right. So
gosh.
as I was saying, it could be very traumatic for some people. And some people may never even want to become a mother, some woman, because of what they have experienced. You know what I mean? So those who are designed to become, it's a good desire to have.
Oh,
But I
yes.
believe that you should also take some time and learn. When you become a parent, as much as you desire to, when you start to experience the challenges of parenting that you weren't taught, you're asking yourself the question, what mistake I made there? You know? And when you go through the hard part of labor, you say, not me. I ain't going back there again. 2 years later,
I wasn't going back there, Sabi. I wasn't going back there. That's the reality. I wasn't
three
going back
years later, what
I
happened?
said the same thing for the first time. I
Yeah.
said, nah, can't handle that kind of pain again.
But you know something? When that child comes forth, honestly, you forget the pain,
It's true.
You
It's
Yeah.
so
forget that
true.
pain
So,
totally, Sabi.
Mm.
You understand? You forget about it.
It's
But
prophetic. It is
I want to
prophetic.
ask a question, Bishop.
Mhm.
I understand what Sabi is saying too. If you're really interested, in growth, in development, in change of behavior, attitude, in becoming a mother, you must take responsibility.
mhm.
But there are millions of women that don't even know the first step,
Mhm.
how to make a change. To begin with, your mind is so messed up. You can't even sit down to focus on a book, to say read
Right.
a book, right? What do you believe? Because we are all about solutions,
Right.
restoration. What do you believe that can be done to assist women, young and old, in our nations at this particular time, and more so the younger ones,
Yeah.
right? More so the younger ones, so that change can take place in the way in which they become mothers.
I fully believe that there's a book inside of all of we have been discussing, and if it's packaged right, it will help so many women. Because when you begin to really unpack this, it's actually 7 pregnancies, and we have been only talking about one, the biological pregnancy. There are 7 pregnancies, and the biological is the one that brings the visual, but there are 6 of them that we need to really teach on, because the first one is the mind, as you mentioned, Minister Cassandra. The mind gets pregnant. The mind is pregnant with imagination, and that is the pregnancy that creates your flesh could only get pregnant with lust. And again, that is the pregnancy that leads to a lot of issues. Then your will gets pregnant, you see, with desire. Then your emotions get pregnant. and you have your spirit gets pregnant. And that's a powerful pregnancy, because your spirit could only produce that baby of faith. Your spirit could only produce faith. So when you look at the way in which issues surround the biological pregnancy, there are other pregnancies that are happening that would cause and create all the things and the emotions that are just going to drain the will and the resolve for you to become that mother you want to become. And some of the times, if not all of the times, the preparation might not be there. So whether you are male or female, you get pregnant. And once you get pregnant there, you're going to have to, it's not in those six areas which are not biological. There is no way you could say, oh, I don't want this pregnancy, it's coming. But the management of it, there is so much that could be said, and there's so much information that could be harnessed and given to a young generation to help them, because the stages are so important. Because when you're dealing with mothers, when you look at Zipporah, that's a woman of steel. And we need to teach on some of the mothers who really played a role. They are women of steel. When you saw what Zipporah did, she is wife of Moses. She is number 7. She has 6 siblings. And Moses meets her at the well. And she cannot fight off this Marudan band of men that don't want them to use the well. She just cannot fight with them. Moses is trained to fight with them. He jumps in the fight and he opens up the well. And now Zipporah is able to meet Moses. They fall in love. They have this relationship. They produce 2 beautiful boys. And then God intervened and he said, I want you to leave where you are. You have been here for 40 years. I want you to leave. I want you to get back to Egypt. And while they're traveling from Midian to get to Egypt, in the middle of the journey, the angel is there to kill Moses. So God is using Zipporah now. And Zipporah says, you know what? In the beginning of our relationship, I couldn't fight all these men that were coming at me. He said, but she made up in her mind. She said, I got this. Whatever this death angel is going to afflict on you, let me handle this. So you begin to see, she says to Moses, you are a bloody husband. You are a bloody bridegroom, because you never circumcised the boy. You never prepared the boy to meet with the covenant that God has made. So sometimes when we see our mothers operate and we see women take the center stage, you could never imagine or never tell what's happening on the inside, because you're pregnant with desire. At the same time, your mind is pregnant with imagination. At the same time, your spirit is pregnant with faith. And then God intervenes to set the assignment and to set everything in your life that might have been in chaotic movement. He brings it from disorder into order. We see that with the 4 mothers that were listed in Matthew. Rahab is a harlot. She is a prostitute on the wall, and she wants deliverance. You see Ruth. Ruth says, I just want acceptance. I just want to be accepted. You see Naomi is telling her, go back, because Naomi is a mother. Ruth is not a mother. She's going to become a mother. And you begin to see how Matthew begins to list these women who are out of order. He even says, look, Judah is sleeping with his daughter-in-law, Tamar. So Tamar says, I want the truth, because you want to kill me because I'm pregnant. And she said, I have the ring of the man who impregnated me. I have his cord. I have his rod. And she wants the truth. Naomi says to Ruth, you're going to have to deal with a culture shock. And Ruth says, I want acceptance. Rahab on the wall, she says, hey, I want to be in with this deal. Whatever is going to happen with you. So what we see there is that these 4 mothers are desiring something. And when you put Zipporah in the mix, my God, the ingredients of mothers, the ingredients of what the times that we live in we have to really understand that the biological pregnancy is just one level, but the other six, that's where the mind, the will, the imaginations, the emotion gets involved and shapes the outcome. It's just amazing.
So,
Awesome.
Sabi, where's your take? Where's your take on solutions?
Well, my take is I want to piggyback a little bit on what Bishop just mentioned, and that is desire. I believe if one or that individual has a desire, despite where you are, whether you are with child or without child, if you have that strong desire, it should be enough to push you, right? Beyond just thinking about the physical pregnancy or the situation where you are in now as a mother, right? If you have a desire to be a good mother, it should go beyond that. That thing should be enough to make you want to become hungry for doing it right, getting the information needed to be able to ensure that you're doing it the way that God has designed it to be. As a mother, you have a purpose, right? But if you don't know what your purpose is, it's not just to breastfeed and to feed and to give comfort for a place to stay. A child has an emotion, and a child has a sinful nature that we were all born with. You understand? You're a steward. And if you ain't know A from B for yourself, then what are you teaching that child? So it tells me that as a mother, you should venture, at least get some information. Look at people around you. If you don't like to read, see who it is that is doing it practically in a good way as best as you think they are, right? See, you could take a page from that person. Have a woman in your life that is probably older than you, and you can see her fruit, the way how she has taken the time to nurture and groom and grow her children or a child, and you see that child came out to be, you know, somebody that is I would say a good example. They're not just um showing good traits, but they're a good godly example now. And you could see, boy, that woman would be somebody I think I should speak to. She would help me to, give me some information that can help me to groom and grow my child and also to help me better myself. Because if you ain't thinking about bettering yourself, as I said earlier on, you can't better your children's life. If you're in a messy situation with somebody who not even ready yet, like you may be in a relationship and that individual not even ready yet to be a father. They may just want to be a parent. They are all interested in being being a parent. And parenting still has its place. I mean, don't use the word loosely. What I'm saying is that maybe as some people say just want to be a dad and not a father. So you're happy to say you have a child, but you're not even there to support that child with a need. You understand? And you see, mother and father goes together. A woman don't make a child for herself. The only how that happened was when Mary made Jesus Christ by the Holy Spirit. So you know, you need to ensure when thinking about becoming a mother that you make good choices. I hope that person is calling to be a part of the program. Thank you for calling Hope FM. You're live on the radio. I hope you're calling because you want to be a part of our conversation.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, this is Trevor.
Well, no. You'll have to. You're on a live
I'm.
program, sir. So you
Oh my
can.
God! When I'm so. But in the meantime, let me say, I'm good afternoon to Grenada.
Well, that's
I'm
awesome.
Eric Noel Joseph. I know Trevor very well. We went to school together.
Okay.
But I just got the number and the station, so I've been listening for the past couple of days.
Okay.
So hello, Grenada.
Well, hello to you. I think Trevor left a number for you there, so just check back your WhatsApp and you'll find
Okay.
it. Awesome.
Thank you so much,
All
sir.
right,
God bless
great.
you, man. God bless Grenada too.
All right, Eric. Blessings, man. So yeah.
Yes, I mean that is so true.
Yeah.
because without Elizabeth, Mary, the Gabriel told Mary that Elizabeth was 6 months ahead, in
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy, and she had to find Elizabeth,
Mm-hmm.
and she had to be nurtured there in the hill country because Elizabeth was her auntie.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you need that support system,
That's
even as Minister Cassandra was asking about solutions.
right.
You need, that's what Paul was telling Titus, the older women, you have to
The younger one.
nurture, you have to be there, you have to create that space to really nurture the younger women.
That's
And that's the trend. The moment Mary got to the house of Elizabeth, you see Elizabeth in her old age, she's past 85, and she sensed that something is up with Mary, and she begins to tell Mary, how is it that the mother of my Lord? So who told Elizabeth that Mary was pregnant? You see?
This is amazing. I'm listening to all of this, and what came back to me is one of the sermons that Bishop Esther preached, I think, a couple Sundays ago. Still going back to the whole teaching of the older woman teaching the younger woman. And she was talking about the midwives. Sometimes you're about to, so we talk about the physical birth, and we also have the spiritual bringing forth. You're pregnant, and you're about to give birth, and you need these women there that we call the midwives,
Yeah.
who will be there, and even along the pregnancy journey, the midwife is preparing you and letting you know this is what's going to
What to
happen.
expect.
This is what you
Yeah.
need. You need to bring XYZ. You need to prepare and make sure you have this bag. They're packed with XYZ. We need these kind of, so in the physical, same with the spiritual. We need these kind of midwives, the persons who will pour into you, the woman who would pour into you and prepare you and let you know. They're filled with knowledge. They have a lot of knowledge. And I think we've lost a lot of that in terms of maybe the physical pregnancies these days, because I think back in the day, the older woman will talk a lot and maybe let the mothers to be know, this is what you need, this is what will happen, and I think somehow I feel they were probably a little bit more involved in preparing the mothers to be and letting them know this is what to expect. Today you have to read for yourself, you have to watch a little video on YouTube, you have to, all right. So yes, the knowledge is probably still available, but
But Sister Sabi, this is
yes.
exactly the point I want to get us to.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly where I want to get us to. And I take it from the position, not just the church. I take
That's
it
right.
from the community.
Mm-hmm.
I take it from the
Cool.
school,
Mm-hmm.
where when our girls are in third form, fourth form, instead of the rubbish that they're being taught with sex education, let the church need to rise up, and the church need to represent the kingdom. Let's go back to the schools. Let's begin to teach our young women what it is to become a mother, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and right across the board.
All
Let's
the
go to our communities, in our village councils, and let's establish programs that we will teach our young women what it is to become a mother. And let's go back to basic in the churches, because what I knew when I was a young Christian, Bishop Linnell Sabi, is that the old woman, when a young girl is about to get or thinking about getting married, is the older woman in the church would pull you aside and teach you certain things, prepare you. You understand? Let me tell you how deep this training was. They would go as far as, if this young woman was a virgin, tell her walk with a small bottle of Vaseline on the
Mm-hmm.
night of your honeymoon. It was that
Mhm.
deep. You understand? When you're making a baby, all the women in the church will come together and make sure that that young woman get the training. And not only that, the women of the church will do whatever was necessary to make sure that the baby had clothes, pampers, this, that, every single thing. The church has fallen far from grace. We
Yes.
need to again go back to basics and become a mean machine of transformation. This is exactly where I want to get us to. Our junior WMC, we don't even have junior WMC again. We have senior women, and we have a sprinkling of young people that might find themselves among us. We need to re-establish some of the old landmarks. And let's begin to operate as we are indeed. I keep telling people, as Sabi say, we're a kingdom. We're a kingdom, living in a kingdom, but we are separate and apart. And we need to understand our worth as kingdom people is one God, one Holy Ghost, one everything. And we are the subjects in this kingdom. God expects everything is enshrined in our constitution. Let the older woman train the younger woman. Let the man do this. Let the dance do. Every single thing is in that Bible. Ain't it, Bishop?
Yeah, it's just that
Everything is there. Let's
the
go back.
Problems are emerging because of the lack of understanding of the times.
Right.
You see, and you have problems emerging because of the pressures of this timeline that we're in. You see, the mystery of iniquities at work in our generation as never before. So you have the mystery of iniquity at work. You have the mystery of godliness at work, and we have to champion it. And again, the giant in the room is always shouting more than you could imagine. So it's programs like these that will spur and create that interest and insight, because I know that there are people listening attentively, and we have to really do everything that we can to bring it back and bring it full circle, regardless of what we see and the disappointments that are there. You know, because problems also emerge when there's no leadership. Yeah, problems emerge when there are no leadership skills in these areas. And quite often you hear of the leader shift. So you have to come to that place of leadership where we look again at some of the things that are happening in our schools, our society, our villages, our communities, and really put in, because if we owe a debt to our nation or neighborhood, we have to pay that debt as citizens of the kingdom. We have to pay that debt. If we owe a debt to our society, we have to pay that debt. Because the times that we are living in, we know that there's going to be a falling away. There's going to be a breakdown. Morals are going to be thrown out. You're going to have a synthetic thinking and an acceptance of everything that comes through the internet. And what mom is saying and what dad is saying might seem to be a foregone conclusion. So you still have to spend that time modeling, being visible, showing the graces, because you are competing with AI. Right now, AI is in primary school. It's about to go into secondary school. By the time AI graduates, these conversations are going to be archives, you know?
Yeah. Not only that, one of the things I realized, you see that real love really brings humility, yeah?
Yeah.
And the humility comes with a type of, once it's a godly love, with a kind of strategy. That's why I told you all some years ago, the government sent me on a course, and one of the things I learned is respectful intervention. This age, with Marvin and Candice age, they just used to comply. I assure you, listening, Candice, when mommy said XYZ, that was it. But with Joshua age, they want to know why my grandson,
yeah,
why must I do this? So the dynamics have changed. And now we have to take on a persona of, when I tell you, it's hard, but you have to do godly love, which brings about patience. You understand? which brings, listen, it's really, yes, but no name. Brings about, see, is a patience and is a humility, Bishop, with different, which
Yeah.
means as a parent, sometimes you have to shut up and let them vent, let them say what they're saying, and with a lot of love and compassion and humility, listen to their side of the story. And then with prayer and understanding that the power is inside of you to speak and release truth beneath your breath, release the word and let truth that will bring about a change. That's the only way to fight the battle right now. With the soul and the spirit, well, the word of God says so and so. And then you show them the side where the world presented. But that must be dealt with humility. It must be dealt with real love. You understand? And man, let me tell you something. I learned in a whole new way. I don't know if he listened to me of dealing with Joshua now. Me ain't getting word. I realized at the end of the day, see me, Bishop, nobody ain't sending me 6 feet under.
Can they say no name calling?
Let me tell you something. I eat humble pie. Bishop, I eat humble pie. I'm not fighting up with nothing. At the end of the day, I say, God, your word states, train up a child in the way he should go, when he's old, he will not depart from it. I have to learn to trust the process. The way it turns out, I have to trust the process. I did my part. And we as parents have to reach a stage where you step aside and say, God, hands off, you take over.
That's right.
If you don't do that, trust me, you going 6 feet under and them continue living the life, the best life they could live.
Quite
You
agree.
understand? Love, humility, patience, resilience. Listen to me. Absolute focus. Stand upon the word, the precision of the word. Continue to send it because it moves mountains. The enemy might want you to feel that it's not working, but you have to be, listen to me, so intentional. Continue to use the sword of the spirit. Every time you turn around, you use it. Stand your ground in love and say, God, I trust you. And you see that child? I had to tell him today. I said, boy, it doesn't matter how it look, how it seems. Your mother loves you. You can do what you want.
You know,
when a mother speaks about a love that is sacrificial, they can go right down. They can do the worst thing. Your role is to love, Bishop. It's of love.
Yeah, you have to.
You're speaking a book day because you see now, and I was thinking about that when again people have to learn that because most people are not given that. They never receive that, you know. So when you have to learn it, becomes hard. When you have to learn to retrain yourself, one of the challenges I'd placed to myself as a father was not to become that you call that overly emotional person who would just respond or react anyhow I feel, you know.
Yeah.
I say something, does something, you just react. You just feel like giving them two slaps.
It's in the midst of the thing, and that's why I mentioned Zipporah, because Zipporah Moses was supposed to circumcise the boy, but Zipporah says, "Listen, I am not even waiting for any explanation." She took the boy, circumcised him, and she threw the foreskin at Moses' feet, and the death angel back off, because this was her action that she said, "I got this." There's a time where you just say, "You know what? I got this. I'm going to handle this." And you have to step in, and that's the thing about mothers. They're able to step into that fire, that room, that environment, and really settle the issues. You know, quell that fire, and hence the reason Psalm 91 says, "Listen, when God is on a case, it's like a mother eagle, where he spreads his wings and he gathers his chicks. And if you want to get to them, you have to go through him." And that's how the psalm begins, by declaring, if you are dwelling here, if you are abiding here, if you are living here, this is where your www.com is, this is where your towel, your toothbrush is. he's gonna cover you. He's going to, that's the mother. That's the mother response. That's a motherly response. It's not ordinary.
So you
Because
see,
when a
that's why.
mother, yeah, when a mother begins to fight for her children, for her turf, for her territory, my God, prayer warriors are birthed from that mindset.
Yeah, and again, mothers have to learn to trust God with their children. All that is part of being a good mother, because some
Come
mothers
in,
try to,
Sally. Come
so
in. It's a
some
protest. We come in.
some mothers are, what they do is, when the children become big woman and big man, they still trying to find a way to, tell them, don't go with that man, don't do this, don't do that. Listen, not saying that you can't give advice, but you can't rule. You have to know when you have to back off. And if you can't, when you have to hush your mouth and pray, let your prayer be to God. God is only you. You give me that child,
Definitely,
I
definitely.
forever love them.
Amen.
Hear the prayer from mother. One who's concerned and genuinely here making my petition on the behalf of my children. And I don't have much to say because your words that is so loving can be so damaging. The enemy is so tricky and so cunning.
Mhm.
Some days I have to say to myself, Lionel, take over because I don't want to do no damage right now. So I back off and I say, Miss, you go and handle this one because I'm afraid I'll do some damage.
Oh,
And when I
Lord.
say that is because I know the old man, I know the old side of the parenting that I got. The way I was dealt with is coming up and I'm aware of myself. So when that part of me rises, I know somebody's skin go burn them significantly. So I say, listen, this thing is getting out of control. You step in. And there are times when I drop a two slap, I'll take the belt and I give something because I remember don't spare the rod and spoil the child. But my first instinct shouldn't be to abuse verbally and physically. And the same goes for a mom, a woman who is a mother. You can't always be giving your child something, whap, one box in your face. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Oh, God
you're
help
teaching
us.
that
God
child to
help
become
us.
abusive. Yeah,
May the Lord help us, Sabi. We need a lot of that's the Holy
well,
Ghost discipline.
minister,
That have a
Mhm.
place. Eh? You have a
minister,
place.
I all I'm saying is right.
Hmm.
Be aware. We're talking about solution.
Hmm.
That cannot be your every response every minute
Yeah.
before anything that your child is living in fear. That if your child is standing in front of you and you take your hand to scratch your eye, the child thinking
That sounds
something
familiar.
coming. You understand what I'm saying?
But Sabi, I understand,
But
but
they must have that. They must understand. The child has to
yeah, but
understand that you
yeah, but
have.
listen to me. You have a child boy you're dealing with. And listen to me, boy. You talk to the child and you hearing some long stoops behind your back.
Oh gosh,
You understand? You turn around, you have to tell the child 50 times, carry the rubbish out.
you have to know
You
when
Mm.
to use the
understand?
rod.
It's
Mhm.
real. So at the end of the day,
Rod time, minister. Rod time.
all
Mhm.
right, okay, or you
Rod
want to
time.
roll now?
But
Okay.
when you take the rod now, you have to know how to use the rod because if you don't use the rod properly, you can be damaging. You can be creating a monster that you yourself don't want to deal with. So I have to learn as a parent. You have to learn balance. You have to know how to say what to say. You have to know how to use your brain because these children they are
It's smart.
they're so
It's
smart
smart.
and they don't mean nothing. This morning, something my son was doing, and when I say to him, I say, "Hey, you're trying to get me to react. You're trying to get me to react." I say, "Bro, no, don't go down that
Pushing the
road." And
button,
he
like
laughed,
pushing.
and his response blew my mind. The way how he responded, I get that. I was just doing that to see what he would do. He admitted it. I said, "Look at that." Right? But if you're not paying attention to that, because now you have to understand there are many teachable moments, and that's how you also have to show your child, you know.
Maturity. Yeah.
But I had to literally go to God and ask Him to help me there as a father, because I tell you, when the first child born, that you so love, and then when you see that rebellious nature start coming out, now if you yourself don't know what's going on, eh, if we are all parents here, and if you ask Bishop, you remember a time when he had to give a good schooling, as calm and composed as you see him there with the hand under his chin, folded. I know you remember a time when he said, "Nah, this deserve it. And if I don't do this,
Bishop,
I
you ever had those moments?
No, I don't. You see, the rod is not just physical. The rod is more than just physical.
well, the rod could be the mouth.
As Savi said, there are teachable moments. The rod. You see, I was challenged a lot
Mm,
when it came to discipline.
right.
So obviously, I would not want to discipline in that area of physical. We we would do a routine whereby we take them to the beach a lot, we take them out a lot, and we could never, my wife and I, we could never say that we had to use that sort of physical discipline, because we try to do a lot of routines to keep them in that way. But now when you get to the stage, because you remember it's a stage, when you get to the stage where you have teenagers and that that level of discipline physically is no longer a part, you have to now find the rod in ways of counsel, in ways of trying to get through to their world, because they believe when they get to that teenage stage, they believe that the world is a new world
Well,
and
the
we
adults
have
know.
an old world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a
Well,
lot. It's a lot of engagement. It's a lot of modeling. Just being there, especially allowing them to see you as a couple, as
mm,
mom and dad working together. Whether
As
it's
a
the
unit,
kitchen,
as one
yeah,
unit.
yeah. All that is a rod. All that is a rod. Funny moments. Even
mm,
stumbling over or dancing. It might be a funny song, but you just begin to move to the song, and they begin to observe, and they say, "Daddy, what in the world are you doing?" Sometimes I put on a funny slipper. I was doing a funeral at one time, and I tried to sing, and the key was too high, and they would laugh. They would laugh at that because we were going live. You know, all that is the rod, because they wouldn't forget these moments. You
right.
see, yeah, the rod must not be viewed as just one level of discipline.
That's
There
right.
are so many channels that it takes a hold of,
Mm,
and allowing them to make certain mistakes so that you could correct, and they could see
that's
that
right.
this was
That's
wrong.
right.
Yeah, this was wrong, because what Solomon said is that they are like arrows.
Mm-hmm.
They're like
Yeah.
arrows in your quiver.
Mhm.
And an arrow is going to have 3 points. There's one point that pierces, and there are two that says, "I'm not coming out." So
Mm,
you have to point those arrows. You have to be so careful with how we use that term of the rod, because there are so many applications where it is not physical, but just being there, just showing up, just doing what you do in a very meaningful and purposeful way.
that's right. Well, guys, and we are now far over our time. It's a really interesting conversation, and I wish you can go on until 7, but we can't. So, Minister, thank you for coming back today. When you come, it's always fun. We miss you around here,
Uh,
and we hope to see you soon again. I pray God that the month of May run by very fast, and that you can return to regular programming. You understand, to share what God has placed on your heart. All right, Bishop, thank you again as always
You're
for being
welcome.
with support. And I got my main squeeze on the side by me here. I ain't letting go for nothing. So guys, thank you for all of you who shared, and if you don't forget, if you're in Grenada, there are some there are many opportunities for mothers, but we just shared one earlier on where you can take your mom to a special Mother's Day lunch at the Point Celine Hotel. You can get a massage and so forth. You understand? Even one of our sponsors here, Country Coast Store, they have an opportunity where they have an annual Mother's Day promotion. You can go there and you can dip and win. All you need to do is to buy something. You understand? There are prizes amounting to $250 and also 150. You have two hampers you can win. So go up to Country Coast Store, buy something, put the ticket inside the basket or get an opportunity to just deep and win. Mother's Day is Sunday, and I want to take this opportunity to wish Minister Cassandra happy Mother's Day to you
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
and a happy Grandmother's Day. Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day,
Taking
Cassie.
everything you're taking, everything.
Yeah.
I want to take the opportunity to wish Sister Savvy
Yeah.
happy Mother's Day.
Thank
And
you.
also, I want to take the opportunity to wish my wife happy Mother's Day.
That's right.
Especially the women who follow the program. Happy
Yes.
Mother's Day.
All the women.
Oh,
Of you.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Happy
bless
Mother's
you.
Day to you, Sister
Thank you.
Nordica. Let me go in the comments section. Roger, happy Mother's Day to your wife. To your wife, bro. Candy, happy Mother's Day to you, Zonel. Again, we got here Jacqueline, Milda, my friend. Where's Nordica? Happy Mother's Day to you. You know, some of you guys, you have to say who you are if you're there, you know, because can't say Happy Mother's Day to you if you're not there. Happy Mother's Day to you, Surana, Laquish, and Pearly Charles. Persons who you're not seeing here. Happy Mother's Day to you. All right, because I don't think I'll be coming back to do a Mother's Day program, so I have to take the opportunity now to say it. And happy Mother's Day to you, to my mom and my loving wife. Happy Mother's Day to you. They say leave the best for last.
And we can't forget Candace. Candace!
Hey, Candace, happy
Yeah.
Mother's Day.
We can't forget Candace.
Happy Mother's Day to you, Donnelly. I know you're locked on. All right, so guys, have a blessed afternoon.
Same to you. Okay, all. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Your mom is special and she deserves the best. Treat mom this Mother's Day with a special lunch at Point Celine's Hotel. You can book one of our special spa treatments at our in-house Eden Spa, just for mom and you, or you can even add another family member. For more information, you can call 444-4123 or 407-0074. Let mom feel extra special this Mother's Day. Live entertainment will also be available from 11 to 6 p.m.